Breaking news is shaking the foundations of retirement planning across the Great White North as the federal government implements a massive structural shift in how your pension checks are calculated and delivered. If you have been banking on the traditional safety net of the Canada Pension Plan or old age security, the rules of the game have just fundamentally changed. This is not a routine cost of living adjustment or a minor administrative tweak. We are currently witnessing the full implementation of the most significant pension overhaul in a generation. For those currently receiving benefits or those planning to retire within the next decade, the way you receive your money, the amount you are entitled to, and the tax implications of your golden years are being rewritten in real time. The most immediate change involves the full rollout of the Canada Pension Plan Enhancement, specifically the transition into the second additional contribution phase. As of January 1st, 2026, and moving into 2027, the government has reached the peak of a multi-year strategy to boost the replacement rate of the pension. For decades, the system was designed to replace only 25% of your average work earnings, but under these new rules, that target is being pushed toward 33%. While a higher payout sounds like a universal win, it comes with a significant catch: a new, higher earnings ceiling known as the year's additional maximum pensionable earnings. If you are a middle or high-income earner, you are now contributing a second tier of premiums on earnings between approximately $70,000 and $80,000. This means your take-home pay is shrinking now in exchange for a promise of a larger check decades down the line. But for those retiring today, the transition is creating a complex, two-tiered payment system that is leaving many confused about their actual monthly bottom line. Beyond the contribution side, the government is drastically altering the delivery mechanism through the Old Age Security Program. We are seeing a permanent divergence in payment amounts based strictly on age. Under the new directives, seniors aged 75 and over are receiving a 10% increase in their monthly old age security pension compared to those aged 65 to 74. This creates a staggered retirement reality where your standard of living could fluctuate significantly simply based on which side of the 75-year mark you fall. Furthermore, the recovery tax, often called the pension clawback, has been recalibrated for the 2026 tax year. If your individual net world income exceeds approximately $90,000, the government has begun aggressively reclaiming 15 cents for every dollar above that threshold. For many retirees who have worked hard to build a private nest egg, this means the government is effectively taking back your public pension with one hand while giving it to you with the other. The shift toward a digital-first infrastructure is also causing a massive ripple effect across the country. The federal government has officially begun decommissioning many of the legacy paper-based systems in favor of an integrated digital identity framework for all Service Canada accounts. By the end of 2026, the goal is for every pensioner to be transitioned to a mandatory direct deposit and digital notification system. For those living in rural areas or those who are not comfortable with digital banking, this represents a significant barrier to accessing their funds. The era of the physical check arriving in the mail is being phased out in favor of an automated system that requires constant digital verification. If your account is flagged for an audit or if there is a discrepancy in your residency status, your payments can now be frozen instantly by an algorithm before you even have a chance to speak with a human representative at a local office. Perhaps most concerning for the long-term stability of the system is the government's new stance on the investment of these funds. There is a growing movement toward domesticating the capital held by the Canada Pension Plan Investment Board. While the board has historically operated at arm's length from the government to maximize returns globally, new policy pressures are encouraging the fund to prioritize Canadian infrastructure and domestic emerging markets. This shift in investment philosophy is a double-edged sword. While it may support the local economy, financial analysts are warning that it could lead to lower diversified returns in the long run. If the fund's performance dips because of a mandate to invest at home rather than in high-growth international markets, the future sustainability of your payouts could be at risk. The government is essentially betting your retirement security on the strength of the domestic economy. The Guaranteed Income Supplement is also seeing a massive overhaul in how it treats secondary income. For 2026, the earnings exemption has been modified to allow low-income seniors to keep more of their employment or self-employment income, but the reporting requirements have become significantly more stringent. You now have to report changes in your marital status or your spouse's income almost immediately to avoid massive overpayment penalties. We are hearing reports of seniors being hit with backdated bills totaling $5,000 or more because they failed to report a small change in their household finances within the government's new, tighter windows. This level of oversight is unprecedented and signals a move toward a high surveillance model of social assistance. As we move toward the middle of the decade, the reality is that the Canadian pension system is becoming more selective, more digital, and more expensive for the working class. The days of a simple, predictable check are being replaced by a complex calculation involving your exact age, your tier of contribution, your digital literacy, and your total global income. The government has signaled that further changes are on the horizon as the demographic shift toward an older population continues to put pressure on the federal Treasury. Whether you are currently collecting or decades away from it, the message is clear. The safety net has been rewoven, and it is tighter and more restrictive than ever before. You must be proactive in managing your Service Canada profile and understanding your tax brackets, or you may find your expected retirement income is far lower than the numbers you have been counting on.